Welcome back, everybody. If you've seen previous videos on this, you know what's coming. We're gonna try and tackle the hybrid lower for this GHK G5. I'm gonna see how we get on. I haven't looked at any tutorials. I probably should have. If I get stuck, that's something I'll do. But I'm pretty sure it's as simple as we need to modify a grip to fit this onto. We need to install the trigger parts, the body pins for the rear, I suppose. So we'll just crack straight into it on stripping down this G5. And we've still got the MP9 to do as well. But I imagine most of you are probably waiting for this one. So the front pin, the back pin, actually, we just push out. The front pin is encapsulated with a screw, so we can push that screw out. Tap this pin. Let's use a smaller pin punch that goes inside the pin, so we don't damage it. And we'll take this upper off. For now, I don't think there's anything we need to do to this, so we can come back to that in a moment. It's all to do with the lower. Now, if you haven't been watching what this lower does, it takes or replaces the stock lower, converts it to, HPA, so it's fed by an airline, and takes Scorpion Evo mags, so we still get the bolt lock in this little bag of tricks here. What did I do with that pin? There it is. We have some extra components. This is a template, so what we need to do, I'll be changing the grip on this anyway, and we're going to be, of course, going to one of these if it will fit. It might fit, it might not. If it doesn't, we can come back to it. I'm pretty sure it's a very slight modification here. So it might actually be easier for demonstration purposes to just fit the original for now, and then we can always come back and swap it out. So we'll pull this screw out. This is a Phillips screw. Loosen that off. Screw's encapsulated. We need the hex nut from here as well, which just pull out. The pin for the body pin is held in by a grub screw, so I take it we can just pull this out here. Hopefully it's metric. So a 2mm Allen key driver. We can take that out. The spring comes out, and then I think we do have the ability to take a tool from the top and just push out that pin there. So what struck me as a little bit strange is the it's only this tiny little nub in here on the pin that does the business. Right, let's get a bag so we don't lose any bits. So the rear pin there. The stock is held on by a little E-clip type thing, so we can pull that off without jabbing my hands. So little E-clip there, and then we'll be able to tap this out. I'm removing all the easy bits first, so that can come out like so. Stock comes off. Now on the tap lower we can actually fit, I believe we can fit this stock, so we can retain the folding stock like that. Alternatively, if you don't want to use that stock, there are some adapters. So this adapter here will give you like a wrist rail attachment at the back. This one gives you the ability to use like an AGM4 stock. We've got a pad here. We'll figure that out later. That's a spare. There's a 3D printed pin there as well. So we'll have to figure out what that's for. So we'll set that to one side. No idea how this comes apart. I've never took one apart before. I don't think we need the bolt catch because there's a bolt catch included on this new lower. We don't need the mag release. All we need is the fire control components. And we should be good to go. So this is held in what looks like by a grub screw just there, which splits the selectors. So I'm hoping this is a 1.5. Might be a little bit smaller. I think it's a little bit smaller. We won't go electric for this. 1.3. Let's give that one a go. 1.3 seems to work. So if you're familiar with the GHK G5, you're going to probably take this apart a lot quicker than I'm going to. But if you're not familiar with the GHK G5 and you've literally bought one to fit this conversion, then this guide's probably going to help you. So we can take off the ambi selector there. We can also remove this grub screw, which holds in, try not to lose it, the spring and detent for the selector, which after we've loosened that off, we should be able to pull it out. Is there a notch? Yes, there is. So there's a notch at the top. So you've got these little pieces that stick out, and you've got a little notch at the top there. We'll also pull out that little ball bearing, and at the same time, let's get a little bag from the side, and we'll put these components in just so they don't go rolling off the table. That little screw, selector. We'll take this body pin and E-clip and put it safely in there as well. So we don't need the release, but we do need all these parts inside. So let's guess. I'm guessing the hammer set comes out first. There's probably many of you screaming at the video right now. Should probably watch a tutorial for this platform. So hammer pin comes out. Can we then slide the hammer out? So the hammer and the spring. Got another spring up there, which is on the trigger, which also holds that in. So what I'm going to do, push the trigger pin out. Which will drop the rest of these components here. Worry about that later. Famous last words. And we have this piece here, which I'm guessing we'll still need. Nice and easy to push out there. So that's probably going to be the part that goes back in first. And there's a little spring there. That spring probably came from here. Just try not to lose that. I've got tons of these little plastic bags hanging around from when I fitted a lot of upgrade parts, so we'll just throw these in. And I presume that's everything that we need, because we don't need the mag release. So we can put this to one side now, and many of you have already hit me up about this, asking if you can buy the components that I don't need, and to be honest with you, I have no idea of the value, so you'll have to bear with me. I can't imagine these are expensive to buy abroad, so it might not be worth me selling it. So we'll take, I don't think it says on here what size drill to use, but what is nice is they've included a little slot, if I can place this in properly. Included the little slot for the hex nut so that you can torque down your grip. I imagine this is why they've done it. So you can put your grip on and you can screw it in, which indicates the torque that you'll have on when it's fitted to the gun. Because the last thing you want to do, and again I'm just guessing, is drill a hole here for the grip line, not have the grip torqued up, and then as you come to fit it, you put your hose in, you torque this down and it damages the airline. So I imagine that's why they've done it, which is nice that they include that ready to do. In terms of drill bit size, it's a very old set here at the garage. Let's try a 7. 7's too big. We'll go down to a 6. 6 is a bit too little. We might have to start with a 6, because 6.5 won't go down there. So I'm guessing that's what we need to do. So we'll drill this out with a cheap electric drill here. And this will enable you to do it more accurately and, and a lot safer. So we line that up. And we're just drilling into the grip. Very carefully, just extract it every now and again to pull the plastic out. Take your time with it, because when I've drilled grips in the past, especially like base plates and stuff to get airlines through on HPA builds, these can snatch. The drill bit can get stuck and they can snatch and you can injure yourself, but you'll see it's a little bit off center, but for all intended purposes, we should be okay. Now what we can do, just to test it, is we can take this fitting off and we can just try threading it through, and you'll see there it goes through, no drama. So we are good to go. That was a 6mm drill bit. Let's put this swarf in the bin and get rid of the drill. I will be changing this grip to a dye-free Co. I just need to check. In fact, I can do that now. Just check that the grip won't foul it, which I think it might. We'd have to drill it to try it. Shall we drill it? We'd have to drill it to try it, but it kind of looks like it would maybe just about get stuck, which we'd just have to trim. Just these little lugs off here. So for the sake of time, we'll save that for another video, and I'll tell you guys what I needed to do to modify it to fit. So now we need to get all this stuff back in. We can pull the grip back off. And basically I'm just going to go in reverse. So we'll pull this grip out. We need the hex nut. Can leave that in there. Let's pull the hex nut out. We can put this, this and this to one side because we don't technically need it. Put the instructions back in there, just tidy up a little bit. And we'll get to the next step. Right, let's start tackling this trigger box. Again, never done one of these before, so try not to roast me too much, but let's get it out of the way. So, we have this part that came out last, and we've got a little spring that sits in there. This spring's obviously going to want to fall out. So what you can do, just dab a bit of grease in that hole, and then when you put the spring in, ta-da, doesn't fall out. So this needs to go in. This one is probably the easiest part. You've got a little detent in the bottom there for the spring to sit into, and we're just gonna push that in. I'm going to push it down till it lines up, and the notch needs to be on the right hand side. So if you're looking down the rifle, the notch needs to be this way. So we'll load that in there. You'll see the notch is on this side. Check that it's actuating, which it is. Very good. I think the trigger was next. Look at this. So those parts look like they go together that way. I think what this pin's for is to hold all this together. It's the only thing that makes sense because it's not long enough to be a through and through body pin. So let's give it a go. So we put all that on. Little 3D printed pin. It's going to hold that together. The springs, one goes that way, and the other, are these the same? No, they're opposite. The other one is going to go into the slot like that. So this one's going to be pretty straightforward. This one we're going to have to try and hold up as we put it in. Do I have anything to aid that process? Probably not. And what I'm going to do is fit this in. I could do with something behind that to pull it up. Ill prepared. I could do with a little bit of wire or something. So we're just going to go for it. Make sure the springs stay there. I'm going to put the valve knocker on in a moment. Really? So that is going to go in like that, but we need to pull that spring up so it doesn't get caught the wrong way. We can use just a tool for this, and basically I'm just going to be trying to lift that spring up. It's a bit difficult to record and do it at the same time, but I am just lifting the spring bar. Do this here. Let's try from this side. I know these can be a little bit fiddly. Right, what I'm going to do, work smarter, not harder. I'm going to see if I've got anything that can aid this. Right. Right, my idea is, ideally what I'd have is something just underneath that to pull it up. I've got a sort of a sacrificial barrel here that I never plan on using. I'm just going to put that in there so I can keep that from extending in the way and catching on the receiver. Hopefully this works, or otherwise I'm going to look very stupid. I think that's worked. There we go. Use a barrel or something with a hole in it. Push that down. With this one, we also need the slot on the right hand side. So we're going to line that up like that. I'm going to push the, there we go. That couldn't have happened more perfectly, could it? So the spring that you'll see here on the right hand side, you basically just need to hold that. It's basically situated like this. And if you try and put the trigger grip in, that's just going to dig into the plastic and it's not going to want to move. So you basically need to take that spring piece and move it up like this. So I did it with a barrel. There's probably a million different ways you can do that. The most ideal way is I'd have something like a bit of like wire and just pull it up as I push it in. But the method I use there seemed to work just fine. I need to attach this on though, which could be a bit of an issue. Maybe I should have put this on first, but I'm going to try. That's going to be a ball ache, isn't it? So maybe I need to put that on first.
How do you tell somebody that you care about deeply? I told you so.
I've pulled everything back out. We're going to give this a go again, but we're going to put that little valve knocker on the thing before we put it in. So we're just going to try this again. So we'll put this part together like so. We've got our little 3D printed pin, which will hold that together like so. Because the problem is, while it's in there, you can't really put this tool in easily to latch it on to that spring. So we're going to have to try and do it at the same time. And pushing the assembly in. Come on. No. So the problem that we have, or the problem that we've got to get round, is that latches in there like that, but you can't place that in like that when the trigger mech is installed. Now, you can easily just loop this in and do that, but whilst trying to install everything, we need to finagle this spring like so. So instead of holding it there and trying to balance it, I think what I'm going to do is slip it to the side like that. So it can't, I'm not really trying to hold the spring at its full length. So we'll give this a go. If it doesn't work, much swearing will probably happen. So we just want to hold that in position. Yeah, there we go. Long enough like that. And then we need to hold that valve knocker in place while we line this up. Get our pin, notch on the right hand side, push that into our trigger assembly, pushing out the 3D printed pin. And now we have a valve knocker that is situated, which I'm hoping the spring is gonna, one, stay on, but also hold it in place like so. I think that's probably the easier way to do it. So latch it on beforehand, and instead of trying to hold it in the front like that, you want to hold it to the side. And now hope it doesn't move. So the last part is the hammer. And we'll talk about these springs and the notches in the pins in just a moment. But first I'm going to get this installed. So this needs to slip over the valve knocker. So we want to place that spring on the back of that pin, push this in so it sits over the valve knocker, which we might have to jig and poke to get it centered like that. And then whilst we're doing that, I think we have to pick up the other spring. So we need to get this spring out of the way and pull it up. Okay, I'm understanding. So that there, on like that. We need to hold that spring out the way whilst installing that. Oh good, don't fall off. Like there. So we need to pull that spring up and try and catch it with my thumb like that. So I'm holding that spring out of the way. This, like I said, spring needs to sit on that pin at the back there, and then we should be able to push this into position over the valve knocker like that. And with this pin, we need the notch on the other side. So notch on the left hand side for the hammer pin. We can make sure this is aligned by capturing it with a pin punch. So we need that to sit in place like that. So we've captured that. We could probably let this spring go, but I don't want to just yet. I'm going to be using, in fact, I think no, we don't want it yet. So push this hammer forward using this pin punch. To get that pin started like that. Push the pin punch out. We're going to tap it. Try and tap it home. Might be the valve knocker getting in the way. I'd probably be doing a better job of this if I wasn't recording, because trying to do it while recording does make this more difficult. So I think it's the valve knocker that's getting in the way of the pin. There we go, pin's going in. Line the pin up with the body. We're almost there. Like that. Now, I'm going to get my thumb out the way and I can let that spring go. Now, these pins, so the reason that you want the notches on the right sides is that this front pin here, or the bottom front pin, is held in by that side hammer spring sits in that slot, keeping the pin there. This pin, which is your trigger pin, is held in place by the hammer spring situated there. And then finally, the hammer spring, which needs to be, the notch needs to be on the left side, is held in by the other trigger spring. And there you have it. Only took about 6,000 years, but that. So that's all in. I think that's pretty much the hardest part of this whole thing. Right, onto the selector. We'll get the selector bits out here. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to place the left hand side of the selector in, swivel it round to safe, take the ball bearing, but first what I'm going to do is put a little bit of grease on this ball bearing, followed by the spring, like that, followed by the grub screw. It was a 2mm, wasn't it? 2mm grub screw. There's no threads on this hole that I can see, so we're probably going to have to tap it with the screw, which is easily done. It might have a thread there, I didn't really check. No, there's no threads there, but it's easily done, and it's also going to be held in by the grip as well. To be honest, that selector feels much better in this tap lower than it did in the original one. Right, in, flip it to auto, place your other side of your selector on, take our thin long grub screw with a 1.3mm Allen key. They've actually given you a bit of relief on this screw compared to the original lower. Make sure that's flush, which it isn't at the moment. So just need a couple more turns. Very flush, not yet. We're about flush there. And then what I'd do is just flip it over to check that you haven't come out too far. We've got loads of space on that. So because we've got loads of space, I'm going to put it in an extra turn. There we go. The selector's in. Feels nice. On safe. Won't fire. On semi. Will fire. On full auto. All works. Good stuff. Next we need to install the rear body pin. Getting ahead of myself there. Which is easily done. We place our rear body pin in, our detent tool with the nubbin towards the pin, like so. In goes the spring. We have another grub screw which we use a 2mm Allen key with. Oh, I'm going to try and edit this video down the best I can. Thread this into the receiver till it's flush. Fits nice and crisp. Very good. Right, we'll fit the stock on next. So this is very easy. Place the stock in. I'm going to keep this stock because it's, you know, like an Evo stock, and this is really an Evo lower. Place that in like that. We've got our little E-clip, which these can be a little bit of a pain in the arse. Or I always tend to use an oversized flathead. Being careful if it's magnetized like this, because it's just going to want to pull it out the way. There we go. Make sure that's installed properly, which it is. We can lock our stock. Not as crisp sound as the original, but good enough. So all that's in. We need to do the grip. So with the grip, you take your fitting off. You've got your pre-drilled hole. Push your airline through your grip, like so. We need our little hex nut so that we can screw it down, like that. Slide the grip into place. You might find that the screw is getting in the way. So it might be easier for you to install this without the screw there. We need to hold the airline out the way and screw in our grip. We don't need to go mad with this. Once it hits the end of its travel, just screw it in, keep going, keep going. The airline's going to want to push your screwdriver out of the way. Having a long screwdriver like this will help. Hits the end of its travel. And there we go. And I love how this lower just completely hides that airline. Now what you can do is you can reinstall your QD fitting for your airline. Let's get this out of the way. Very good, very good. Got an Evo mag, it just happens I've got one here ready. That goes in. You'll see, let's put this on safe. It actuates the bolt stop. What they do say is you've got a bolt release here on this side, which is nice. What they do say is when you've got an empty Evo mag in, don't try and push this down to drop the bolt because it's to do with the magazines. They don't like this being pushed down. You can do it if you slightly press the follower, but it binds up, and the last thing you want to do is snap that and break it. So we'll take our upper, which is still bog standard. We did have a little rubber pad. I'm not entirely sure. It isn't actually sticky, so I'm not entirely sure where that goes. I'll have to check. And we can put our lower on our upper, like this. Push the body pin in. Make sure you hit the camera mount at least once. That goes in. Line it up. It's like a D shape, like that. Flip it over. Take your screw. Tighten it up this side. Yeah, and you don't have to go crazy. Just nip it up. This will then be able to be collapsed inward, I believe. There is a bit of a gap there. Is this all going in correctly? Do we have to? It might just be tight. Yeah, I think it's just tight. So this side seems to collapse okay. this side doesn't. I can almost perfectly see through that pinhole, so maybe it's just new and a bit tight. Yeah. There we go. Bolt lock works. To be honest, I don't ever plan on using this, because why go through all that when you've got a nice charging handle that you can lock up and use it? So as long as it locks on empty, I think we're good to go. There is a gap between the upper and lower, so I just need to. That functions fine. It resets the trigger, full auto, works fine. Safety works fine. Now I'm not going to do a massive shooting demonstration in this video because it's going to be a long video. However, we'll just do a bit of a test. So this hasn't got crazy PSI in it at the moment. It's running at about 85. What was the recommended pressure? 100 to 120. So what we'll do is turn this up slightly to 100, if that's what they recommend. You want to rack it first. We can then put our airline attached. No leaks. Kicks like an absolute bugger, that does. Damn! I am running out of pressure on the tank, I think. Got 1,000 PSI left in there. It did sort of stutter a little bit then on full auto. So I'm going to quickly put some 0.3s in this mag, in this Evo mag. So I'm just going to put like 30 rounds in and see how we do. So 30 rounds of 0.3s. We'll put the chrono on as well so we can show you. So a bog standard G5 running 0.3 gram BBs at 100 PSI. Let's see what it does. We're at 1.4 joules. 1.4, 1.4, 1.4, 1.4, 1.4, 1.4, 1.4. So there's a bit of fluctuation in the second decimal, but 1.4 joules, pretty consistent. Let's do a quick burst on auto, see what happens. Locks back. You'll see there are some BBs in the little feed tube, which are encapsulated. And we do have a little latch just there. So if we want to eject them, my fat fingers struggling a little bit here, but we can eject the BBs and let's just do another dry fire test, see what happens. Yep. So the way that I'd be using it is fire it till it's empty, mag's out, take your mag out, slap a fresh one in, and I'd just be charging it like that. Or, you know, if I'm preparing, let's say, preparing to put a mag in, lock it up, put your mag in, give it the HK slap. It's very, very good on the blowback action and the recoil. Don't know what happened there. But the recoil is just immense. Try and capture it on camera for you. I'm not sure what that's doing. It's like it's half pressing the valve. So maybe some of the valve components here for the valve and the extension piece and the knocker, maybe they're just sticking a little bit. Semi-auto seems to be fine though. And now, whoo, you've got as close as you can get to an Evo until someone makes a proper one. A gas blowback Evo that's HPA fed, runs on Evo bolt hide open and empty mid-cap mags, which are 75 rounds. We also have, if I've got one, I'm sure I've got one somewhere, we have the PTS mags, which are gargantuanly long. I'm probably saying that wrong there, but they're ginormous. So these might look a little bit wacky. Oh, do these mags not work? No. So if you've got the PTS mags, they won't go in. Oh no. Which isn't the end of the world, because I've got an absolute shed ton of these. So you'll be able to use your ASG mags, but if you've got these PTS mags, no comprende, muchacho.
Come again? You know I don't speak Spanish.
Yeah, we're going to leave it there on that bombshell. Hope you liked the video. Hope it hasn't been too long-winded for you. Again, I'm new to this platform. Never took a GHK G5 apart. Maybe I did years ago and forgot about it, but not that I can remember. So I don't think I did too bad, being I haven't dealt with this platform before. And we got there in the end, didn't we? So the trigger parts are a little bit of a faff getting in. It's hanging up a little bit on auto. That could be a running thing. It could be just dry and the parts are sticking. Hopefully if TAPP Airsoft watch this video, they'll be able to point out that. But there you go. It's all fitted. Got around to it eventually. I literally went and bought a almost £400 GHK G5 for this kit, but I think it was worth it. So the AAP one we did. What did I do with that pistol? Around here somewhere. So we did the hybrid AAP. Here it is. I do like this grip. I really do like it. Which takes ARP9 mags. So I've got the mag adapter in there at the moment, which accepts the PTS mags. It's freakishly long. So I'm going to try and get some different mags for that. Obviously I've got a G&G one here, but it won't go in because I've fitted the different mag release. So AAP down, GHK G5 down and done. But we do have another, because they've also done a kit for the MP9. So we'll be taking a look at that as well. Can't wait to get started on that little project. But I've got some editing to do. It's probably going to be an hour-long video. I'll try and chop it down as best as I can. But thanks for tuning in. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. Make sure you like the video and subscribe. It helps us with the algorithm, pushes the videos out to more people and spreads the word of the channel. Check out the links in the description. Join the Yoga Precision Discord. You can find the link down in the description. And as always, from me and a very messy bench, we'll be seeing you in the next one.